Good morning, everyone. Sorry for this late start. So I'll go a bit over just so we get our 30 minutes. If you have to leave, just go ahead. I know everyone has a schedule, so um, don't want to cause any stress to the day through meditation. That would be the wrong intention. So we just try to calm our minds and bring our mind and body into this space this morning. Just thinking how wonderful it is that we woke up. We're alive. We have another day to work on our minds and get closer to the Dharma. So maybe we can make that our motivation for the meditation. That through this meditation we can really set the course of the day, so that it can be um, altruistic. That we're doing things not only for ourselves, which we naturally will do anyway, right? But we'll also do those things, those activities, thinking about others, thinking about how we're going to benefit others through our actions of our body, our speech, and our mind. And may we make the aspiration that throughout the day, every encounter that we have with another being, whether it's a human or a insect or a horse or a cow or a lion, I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. Um, May we think about what are we doing and how are we interacting with this individual, with this being, and are we um, doing it in a selfish manner or in uh, a manner where we're actually thinking about the other being. So we'll just try to remember that throughout the day. So last week we started with the sufferings of the happier realms and the general sufferings of samsara. And we just started to get a bit of an overview, right? And today we're going to look at something that's all too familiar for all of us, and that's this suffering of aging. And sometimes I think that while it's so omnipresent and we're very aware of it, we're at somehow the same time very ignorant to the aging process. So every day that passes, we're coming closer to death, just like a candle that's lit. It has a certain duration and it burns down slowly, and it doesn't extend, it doesn't grow longer. It's just growing shorter. So process of aging. It's very evident when we look at the body. We can see changes in the body. We can see different deterioration. But it's hard to see, right? Because it's a gradual process. It's a gradual change and very difficult to see day to day, week to week, month to month. But when we take a longer period of time, then we can certainly see this outward change of our complexion when we had a youthful body, and now it's changed. Now it's less youthful. Our hair whitens, maybe turns gray, maybe we lose our hair, and our body bends, bend over, bend to the side, twists, turns, and we're not as straight as we used to be. And then even when we're walking on flat, level ground, it can feel a bit unstable. And when we were young, our our flesh, it was firm, it was filling our skin. But then when we age, then it's this pleasant appearance, this perceived pleasant appearance. It diminishes in our skin. It hangs down. We develop wrinkles. It's like the the pleasant looking body turns into a very uneven field. Our teeth fall out, and we continue to crave nice foods, but then it's very hard to eat them with fewer teeth. And then think about our speech. When we were young, we had strong speech. But then as we age, it starts to weaken. And people have a hard time understanding us. They don't understand what we're saying. They can't make out the words. Maybe we start to whisper. So we lose this power of the speech. And then we see how powerful the speech is. When we were young and we had this command of speech, then we could request things, we could empower people to do things for us. We had this strong command over the speech, and people would listen to us. Maybe we would even use it in a harmful way and hurt people with our strong speech. So we see how this deteriorates. And then there's the mind, right? Our mind becomes less clear, not like it used to be. We tend to be forgetful. We don't know where we placed our car keys. We forget that we were supposed to meet a friend to help them. We forget to pay our bills. So we see that all these faculties, they lose their power. We can't see uh, or hear clearly. Sitting down and getting up is difficult. And wherever we go, people think, oh, he's just an old person. And they treat us with scorn. And we no longer, we can no longer eat the food that we like because our digestion can't deal with it. And when we were young, remember, we were good looking. People were happy to be our friends. But now we're older, we're less attractive, and no one seems to care. So we can see that most of our years, they have fled us. And um, and now we're constantly aware of death that will be upon us soon. And maybe we still want to go out and have fun and do things like climb mountains like we used to, but it's difficult. We're not capable to do that anymore. So we become just a person stuck in a room, maybe even uh, in an elderly care facility. So this is our situation, right? And if we die, the problem is we don't know what kind of existence will follow. But if we live on as an old person, that's also too difficult. So this samsaric existence, by its very own nature, it's difficult. We age, the body, mind, the speech, they deteriorate. And after this life, we don't know where we're going. And it could be worse, or it could be the same and it repeats. So we have to direct our mind towards liberation. That's it's the only cure to the cyclic existence, the samsara, all the suffering in these so-called happy realms. So this aging, it's clearly suffering. Now that we look back on it, but when we were young, we thought, oh yeah, when I'm 6 years old, I can do this. When I'm 9, I will be able to do this on my own. When I'm 16, I can spend more time with my friends. When I'm in my 20s, I can have my own apartment. Gaining more freedom, all of these things, right? And it's this perceived happiness in those things, right? But as we've been contemplating all of those events day by day, year by year, they're all aging and they're all uh, result in suffering of the body, speech, and mind. So it's interesting how the perception at one point is happiness. And then from the old person's point of view, looking back, it's not so happy where we have landed, but it's the same thing. It's no different. So we should not limit our contemplation to the words or the sutras and the text, but we need to imagine the whole situation. So um, we need to think about the whole situation, how we experience it as an old person. For example, um, if we married when we were young and beautiful, and just looking at each other, you would see how our partner today has deteriorated, but so have we. So just take a moment and we contemplate this, right? Contemplate the suffering of aging. And we haven't even begun to talk about sickness. We're not even talking about all those ailments. Just the sheer fact of aging, losing the youth, losing our senses, the sharpness of our senses, the faculties, because it's like when we're older, our mind wants to do something, but it's not sure how. Physically, we might not be capable, and it creates this confusion, tension, frustration. So just contemplate this suffering of this aging process for a moment. So I find this contemplation very interesting because at every point in our aging process, we have a different perception, some happiness, some suffering. But looking back on it, it's a it's clearly more suffering um, than happiness, especially when we think that within samsara we don't have any control. We can't change it. We're at the mercy of our karma. So we can dedicate this contemplation to all the aged sentient beings, human and non-human, all the suffering that they're going through, and the mental pain of the confusion that they're encountering. And we can dedicate that. May they not suffer. May they have a precious human rebirth or become enlightened very quickly, so that all sentient beings can follow in their path and their footsteps, and they can also help those sentient beings free themselves from the grips of samsara and the aging process. So may they not suffer. May they return quickly to help all of us desperate sentient beings to also achieve enlightenment. Thank you, everyone.